G'day guys, well Ecoflow have just sent me out the Delta 2 Max as well as the Alternator Charger for me to have a look at. We're going to be going through each of the products individually as well as doing an installation video on the Y62. So let's jump inside the caravan and take a bit more of a detailed look. Right, so let's jump in, take a look at the specs. The actual unit itself measures 497 millimeters long, 305 millimeters tall, and 247 millimeters wide. The unit itself weighs 23 kilos, around sort of 50 pounds, and the actual battery inside, the capacity is 2,048 watt hours, and that's expandable up to 6,000 by adding additional units on top to sort of daisy chain them together. Chemistry is lithium iron phosphate, so it's the safer of the lithiums, which is fantastic to see, and it's guaranteed for over 3,000 cycles and still retain 80% of its capacity. All right, so taking a look at the DC side in a little bit more detail, we have a nice bright screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, we actually show our estimated runtime based on our current consumption. In the center, we have our state of charge, so currently we're at 98%, and then on the right-hand side, we have our inputs and outputs on AC or DC sides. Underneath that, we have two USB-As, which are a standard charge. We've got two USB-As at a fast charge. And then we've got two USB-Cs, and they're both rated to 100 watts, which is fantastic to see. To turn the whole DC side on, there's a little button here that turns the DC side of the battery on. And then this big button here, that turns the actual main unit on or off. Right, so looking at the back side of the unit, we've got two solar inputs here, both capable of 500 watts each for a combined total of 1,000 watts, and each of these ports are XT60 connectors. In the center here, we have our AC input. So this is when we're at home, we want to charge the unit up. Now this unit's capable of being charged at 2,400 watts, or 0 to 80% state of charge in about 43 minutes, and Ecoflow claim that's 4 times faster than the industry standard. On the right hand side here, we have our 15 amp circuit breaker. Underneath here, we have 4 230 volt outlets for a combined total of 2,400 watts. Now this unit's capable of producing up to 4,800 watts on surge for those power hungry appliances. The actual unit itself is actually capable of producing 3,300 watts on X boost, but I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail shortly. Underneath here, we've got our 12 volt cigarette lighter socket. This is rated to 126 watts. And then we've got two DC 5521 outlets, and they're rated to 38 watts each. And finally, on the side of the unit, we've actually got 2 extra battery ports. Now what these are used for is actually daisy chaining products together, so you can expand this up to 6 kilowatt, or it actually uses the same plug for the alternator charger. So one of the great features of the Delta 2 Max is that you can actually control the device via an app. You can connect it up via the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. The Bluetooth range I found is around about sort of 10 meters, which is pretty handy around the campsite because you don't need to get out of your chair to control your devices. Taking a look at the app, we can actually see our inputs and outputs on our AC and DC sides. You can break them down into a little bit more detail. Just underneath there, we can see what the AC is coming in and also our DC, what that's coming in. Currently it's 0. In the middle, we've got our state of charge. This shows the state of charge remaining and also our estimated time of run based on our current consumption. At the moment, we've got nothing plugged in, and as we can sort of see there on our AC and DC sort of sides of things. Just underneath that, we can actually turn our AC, DC, or USBs on directly from this app, and we just simply slide them across, and you can hear the unit beeping, and that will then turn these ports on either side. At the top here, we go further into some further settings where we can actually change the name of the device. We can do change a few more settings if we want to. Now this does have a car input, so you can actually charge this off your cigarette lighter socket. However, it is pretty slow. Remember, we've got 2,000 odd watt hours of capacity here, and this will only charge at about 126 watts. So it's going to be pretty slow, so just keep that in mind. But that's where the alternator charge is going to come in, where it's able to charge at 800 watts. If we go down a little bit further, we can change some settings. We can do device timeout. We can change the LCD screen, how long we want that to turn on and off. One feature I did speak about previously is the X boost function. So this is capable of producing up to 3,300 watts of power through the AC side. Now, this is only limited to sort of devices that I'd probably call like sort of dumb appliances, so non-sensitive items, something like a hairdryer, a straightener, coffee maker, something like that, where it's might draw more than 2,400 watts. However, it's not a sensitive item. yeah, don't go plugging in your sort of sensitive equipment because you will damage it. And the way it does the X-Boost function is it actually drops the actual voltage down to cater for the additional load. Come down a little bit further, we can see we can update the firmware when they release any new firmware features. We can access the user manual, so we can click on the user manual. We no longer need to carry the paper one around. And then right down the bottom there, we can change our homepage style. So what we had previously on the previous page, we can change that one, or we can change it to this one there. All right, so moving on to the Ecoflow Alternator Charger. This thing is a beast. This is a DC-DC charger on steroids. So I'm actually able to charge that battery there at 800 watts, which is almost 8 times faster than if I was to charge it through the cigarette lighter socket, which was only producing 126 watts. So you can see there's an incredible difference in charge time between the two. The way it does it is it actually converts your 12 volt power from your car up to 60 volts and then charges that battery at a much higher rate. The actual unit itself weighs 2.3 kilos, measures 35 millimeters thick, is 242 millimeters long and 194 millimeters wide. Down the bottom here we have a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi antenna. Our first port here connects up to our car battery. Our second port here connects up to the actual Delta 2 Max. And our third port here is a comms port. Also has an on and off button here, which you can actually turn the unit on and off. At the top here we actually have a light, and that'll change color depending on which mode the actual charger's in. Now the unit, or the kit itself, comes with everything you need to install. Comes with a mounting bracket, so you can choose where you want to mount that in your car. Comes with 5 meters of cable, and it's already pre-fused and actually has a protective sheath on it. The red cable simply connects up to your positive terminal of your battery, and your black lead connects up to your earthing point in your car. Comes with the cable to allow the alternator charger to connect up to the Delta 2 Max. Now the alternator charger has 3 charging modes. Your first one is your normal charging mode, and that allows you to charge that unit there at up to 800 watts. Now that is selectable via the app. You can actually drop that charging wattage down if you need to. The second mode is called reverse charging. This allows the actual alternator charger to actually reverse charge and actually start charging your start battery on your car. Again, that's selectable up to 800 watts. And your third mode is basically a maintenance mode. And that'll actually maintain your start battery in your car and just trickle feed that battery and maintain its optimal performance. All right, so the first part of the installation is working out where you're going to install the actual charger. Just keep in mind you've got 5 meters of cable to sort of play with, and that's going to cover 99% of your vehicles, unless you've got like a bus or a truck or a motorhome like that, where you might have some extra distances that you sort of need to cover. Anyway, I've got my spot here on the right-hand side, mounted on the rack. One thing also you just need to keep in mind is that keep this in a sort of well-ventilated area where it's not going to be covered up or anything like that. These units will produce a little bit of heat when they're charging, nothing alarming, but you just don't want it impacting its charging performance. All right, so when it comes time to running the cables, I find the easiest way is just to go through the actual door sill itself. You can just run it along the carpet edge. All you need to do is remove the plastic trim, like so, run it through to the front. You'll have to go through the firewall, so you'll find a nice little rubber grommet through the firewall, push your cable through, and then you can then bring it out to the battery. All right, so now the cable's all installed. Probably took me about half an hour in sort of total. It literally is sort of plug and play. There's only 2 wires that really need to be connected. Hardest part was actually getting the actual cable through the firewall, trying to smack it through the rubber grommet. Hot tip though, if you've got some sort of lubricant like silicone spray or anything like that, that helps to get the cable through quite easily. Delta 2's Max is already connected up to the actual charger itself, and the charger is obviously connected up to the car. We've got a red light on top, which means that we're not charging at the moment, but we've got power sort of connected. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's to start the car. All right, so we've got a green light on the charger here now. We've got the input, we can see that it's actually started to come up. We've got 150 watts, 200 watts, slowly starting to climb. I don't know if we'll hit 800 because we're at 97%, which is, you know, getting quite full, but it's going up to 450, almost 500 now. We're climbing up, we're now 600, 650, 700 watts, 760, 780, 800 watts. There we are, 800 watts going into that. And it's literally saying that it's going to take me 6 minutes to top that charge up to 100%. 5 minutes now. That's absolutely terrific. So what I thought I'd do is give you a couple of quick demos on the types of appliances you can actually run off the Delta 2 Max. So right now I've actually got the caravan plugged in, and we're pulling almost 1700 watts of power out of the unit, and it's telling me I've got a run time of 51 minutes. So obviously it's not going to run it for too long, but it just gives you, or it just shows you the versatility and the capability of the actual unit. Anyway, let's jump inside the caravan and show you what else you can run. So we're over here at the van, we've got a couple of common appliances that we've got plugged in. We've got a kettle here that's rated at 2200 watts, and we've got a toaster here that's rated at just over 1000 watts. So combined, we're at just over 3200 watts. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll go and plug them in. And, well, they're already plugged in. We'll go and turn them on. And as we can see here, we're pulling just over 1000 watts. We'll turn the kettle on, and we're at 2374. Now you're probably thinking, Adam, that's not 3300 watts. That's exactly right. The way the inverter works, well, from my experience, is that the inverter will only ever max out at 2400 watts. However, it will support appliances up to 3300 watts. And how it does this is it actually drops the voltage that's coming out of the plug. So rather than being a clean 235 volts or 230 volts, this will actually only produce 220 volts or 210 volts. So that's why you can't run those sensitive appliances that are looking for that stable voltage. All right, so you've just seen how the Delta 2 Max has handled running appliances. We were able to run our caravan, which was absolutely amazing. Like the air conditioning is the biggest consumer of power in the van, and it did it with headroom in the inverter, which is absolutely amazing. We also seen how well the X-Boost function works, where we're able to run a 2200 watt kettle and a 1000 watt toaster, and it did that with ease. As I said, it just drops that voltage down and allows you to run those appliances. So what am I sort of, you know, where does this sort of sit in the market, and who's this aimed for? So honestly, I think these are, you know, for people that want to get off grid, that don't want to actually install an expensive dual battery system into their car or caravan, or they're for people that want to supplement additional power that's portable. So not only can I use this at home in a blackout, so we have quite a few blackouts here in Queensland. Not only can I use it and I can run a toaster, I can run a kettle, I can run fridges, I could run all sorts of things. I can then take it away on the weekend and go camping. So what I really like about it is that if I want to, I can expand this out. So I don't need to necessarily take 6 kilowatts of battery power with me when I go out camping. I can just take the 2, and I can leave the other 4. If I had the other 4 kilowatts, I could leave them at home, and I could use it as a portable power station for those emergencies when you don't have power. Where I also see these are a benefit is they don't create any noise. There's no fumes. Whilst they're not a generator like in the typical sense, they're a storage system. They effectively do the same thing, because your generator is producing power, whereas this is producing power, but it's actually stored power. And no one wants to go to a campsite and listen to someone's generator buzzing away for 6-8 hours of the day. It's, you know, these are silent. They can plug into up to 1000 watts of solar and maintain these batteries. And coupled with the actual Ecoflow alternator charger, it's a match made in heaven. So when you're away camping, plug this into solar. When you're driving, plug it into power in the car, and it's sorted. Anyway, I just sort of throw in also what you also get in the actual kit. So you get these DC 5521 cables. So there's one cable there. You obviously get your AC 240 volt plug, and then you get your 12 volt plug, which plugs into the XT60 connector. So look, as I said, this is going to take a very long time to charge it, and that's why getting that alternator charger is far better than this. Anyway, if you want to get yourself a good deal, Ecoflow have actually got a Boxing Day sale on at the moment. So jump over to their website. I'll link all the description below where you can check this out yourself and grab yourself a good deal. And if you've got any questions or comments, drop them down below. I'm happy to answer them. Until next time, get out there, get camping. Talk to you soon.